Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to explore 4 key phrases that you can use in almost any situation. Not only will we cover the main phrases, but also some variations that will make you sound even more natural in conversations. Let's dive right in. Don't forget to read along out loud. Phrase 1, let's make it happen. This phrase is used to express enthusiasm about turning a plan into action. It's a motivational and action-oriented phrase. Imagine you've been planning something for a while, and now it's time to take the next step and act on it. For example, we've discussed the project for weeks. Let's make it happen. Or, it's time to start the business we've always talked about. Let's make it happen this year. Now let's look at some variations and example sentences. How about, let's get this done? You could say, we've been preparing for the presentation all week. Let's get this done and impress the client. Another one is, let's go for it. For instance, we have enough savings to buy that house. Let's go for it. You can also say, we can make this work. Like, the timeline is tight, but if we focus, we can make this work. Or, let's put the plan into action. For example, now that we have all the details, let's put the plan into action and launch the product. And finally, let's take the next step. You might say, we've come this far with the project. Let's take the next step and finalize everything. An interesting point is that this phrase and its variations are often used in motivational and goal-setting conversations, encouraging people to move from planning to execution. Phrase 2, how does that work? This phrase is used when you want to know the process or functionality of something. It's great for clarifying things you don't fully understand. Picture yourself in a meeting where someone proposes a new system, or you're learning to use a new piece of technology and want to know how it operates. For example, you say the new app will improve efficiency. How does that work? Or, the project management software looks great, but how does it work? Here are some variations and example sentences. You could ask, can you explain how it works? Like, I'm not sure how this machine operates. Can you explain how it works? Or, what's the process for that? For instance, you mentioned a new hiring procedure. What's the process for that? Another variation is, how exactly does it function? For example, the new security system seems complicated. How exactly does it function? You might also say, can you walk me through it? Like, I've never used this software before. Can you walk me through it step by step? And finally, how do we go about doing that? You could say the plan sounds great, but how do we go about doing that with our limited resources? An interesting point is that this phrase is incredibly versatile and useful in both formal and informal settings. It's a polite way to ask for more information or clarification without sounding lost or uninformed. Phrase 3, can you show me? This phrase is used when you want someone to demonstrate or visually explain something to you. Imagine you're learning something new and need hands-on guidance, or you need to see how something is done. For example, I don't understand the instructions for assembling this. Can you show me how to do it? Or, I'm not familiar with this feature on my phone. Can you show me how it works? There are some variations and example sentences like, can you demonstrate that for me? Or, I'm not sure how to use this new software. Can you demonstrate that for me? You might also say, can you walk me through it? For instance, I've never handled this kind of report before. Can you walk me through it step by step? Another way to ask is, could you give me an example? Maybe you'd say, I don't fully understand the concept of conditional sentences. Could you give me an example? And, can you explain it step by step? For example, the process is a bit confusing. Can you explain it step by step so I don't miss anything? Or, could you show me how it's done? Like, I've never made homemade pasta before. Could you show me how it's done? Can you show me? And its variations are particularly useful in learning environments, whether it's a classroom, workplace, or even casual settings. Asking for hands-on help shows that you're actively engaged in learning. Phrase 4. I see what you mean. This phrase is used to express understanding or agreement after someone has explained something. It acknowledges that you now understand the point they're making. Picture this. Someone explains a complex idea or problem, and you want to confirm that you understand their perspective. For example, I see what you mean now. The design is too complicated for the target audience. Or, I wasn't sure why you made that decision, but I see what you mean after hearing your explanation. Some variations and example sentences include, I get your point. Like, I didn't think the budget was a problem at first, but now I get your point about the expenses. You might say, I understand what you're saying. For example, I understand what you're saying about the new strategy, and I think it's worth considering. Or, now I get it. Like, I was confused about why we changed the schedule, but now I get it after your explanation. Another way to express this is, that makes sense now. For instance, I didn't see the connection before, but that makes sense now after you explained it. And finally, I follow your logic. Like, your approach seemed complicated at first, but I follow your logic now after hearing the full explanation. This phrase and its variations are helpful for confirming understanding and keeping the conversation flowing smoothly. It's polite and shows that you're paying attention and engaged in the conversation. In this lesson, we covered 4 powerful phrases. Let's make it happen. How does that work? Can you show me? And I see what you mean. Along with their variations. These phrases are key tools for everyday conversations, whether you're at work, studying, or just talking with friends. Try using these phrases in your daily interactions and watch how much more natural your conversations become. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more lessons to boost your English fluency.